You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough.
Hello. Welcome to our first, what did I even call this thing? Hero Shack Daily Things. Yes, where I plan on talking about whatever's on my mind, but promoting most of all our book, The Great Cyclopean number 7 on funmycomic.com. I don't know if Diana's actually with us, but I'll add her icon to the stage.
I am. I'm so sorry.
Where's your camera?
Well, I haven't put it on yet. I was doing something. Rissy was in talking. She was dropping something off for me. But I will turn it on. Just give me a second. I was going to say I got to put my shirt on, but that sounded weird. I have to put my sweatshirt back on. Anyways, hello. Welcome, everybody. I am coming very soon. I thought you were having a longer intro. So
I don't want to open up this, our first ever Daily Things stream. I don't want to open it up with a half-hour live show. That's what I do. That's what I do on Wednesdays.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I'm still doing that because I've lowered the time on that. I've made it more of a 15-minute Cyclopean pre-show because I have like 7 trailers, from 7 issues.
Mm-hmm. I know.
So we're $70 shy on our goal.
I know.
There's only one viewer, so I don't think we're getting it tonight, but we're going to start doing this nightly.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we'll draw a crowd. I noticed that repetition is everything in YouTube.
Yeah, it's true. Hello, Just Me.
Oh, things that happened today. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of excitement going on. We still have the Ethan Van Sciver, Eric July drama kind of happening. Ethan seems to be chewing on a lot of straw. He's going back and looking at hosts and stuff. So it's just, Well, Tim, why aren't you in here, man? Because I really want to talk about, the whole Vic King thing. I am a little leery.
Oh, that's who Just Me is. I didn't know who Just Me was.
It's Tim. Just Me is Tim. I didn't know for sure either. So he just revealed himself.
Revealed. That sounds so like.
But yeah, last night, Dean and Vicky came up with an expose on Vic King, aka Robert. Well, it doesn't matter his last name because he's being doxxed everywhere, anyways. But yeah, apparently he was charged with 20 different counts of, nasty things, basically amounting to child rape. And I guess he was prosecuted on 4. I don't know if they wheeled and dealed or if they couldn't prove the other 16.
Well,
but yeah, it was all bad.
What I heard was like was it 22 counts of it or something?
Something like that, yeah. And then he only got convicted for like 4 of them or something like that. So that sounds like a plea bargain almost,
Well, yeah, but like if you read the article, he supposedly he confessed to it.
Yeah.
And I mean that's what the article said. And then there was messages, so I don't know how he could. I mean, he's claiming that it was a false accusation, but that's not what the article said.
Yeah. Well, of course he would have to claim that. I mean, forgive me if Vic is innocent. God forgive me, but everything is pointing to no. You're just going to have to say that if you're going to try to. But
that's what the article said.
Yeah, and he is a registered sex offender, right? I mean, it's not like, even if they're
false, all I know is what I know. I don't even know that. I mean,
if that's his name,
he'd have to be.
If that's his name, I looked it up just to, because this was one where even though I trust Dean and Vicky, and I do, and it's like kind of like a sore spot for everybody,
Yeah.
I checked them out, and everything they said seemed to be true. Like everything they said was there.
Yeah.
So I'm
Right.
like, holy shit! What is this? And I
They-
mean, part of
they
me
do
wants
a-
to go nuts, but what do you do with that, Tim?
Well, I know what I'm doing. Melvin 2, the cover and 12 pages, that's gone. I'm
Oh, wow.
replacing those.
Yeah.
I sent them over to Robin. He's going to redraw them. And then of course Melvin, the original cover of Melvin. No, it was two of the Violet Vamp pictures, just staring at me. Anyway,
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
anyway, Melvin, the original cover for Melvin 1, it can never be reprinted ever again.
Yeah.
So now the original cover is going to be Robbie Wing's cover.
Wow. That's a trip too, man. That's like just wow, unexpected.
Yeah, I don't know.
Out of nowhere. Like I don't even know. All I can figure is they must have gotten like into trying to investigate him for scamming people and stuff and run into this stuff. Because how would you even think to look for that?
I don't know. Supposedly his wish list was in his actual name, so Vic King's not even his actual name.
Yeah, I saw his name in the
Kincaid or something. It's,
yeah. And the photos seem like a dead match, and
yeah.
apparently there's at least some truth to it if he's denying it,
Well, he I guess he messaged some people and claims that it was one person had recanted their story and blah blah blah. I just like I don't think that's what happened.
Yeah, it's the same story they all have after they get out,
Right.
I was framed.
Yeah.
Video Games and Sports World Peace Tour. I like the name. That's a long name though.
It is. And he's doing the alphabet, which I love. I think that is so. I learned alphabet in preschool.
What are we talking about?
Who was that?
The chat.
The chat. There is somebody that popped into the chat, Video Games and Sports World Peace Tour, and he was just probably just typing the alphabet because he learned it in preschool, and I thought that was really cool. Preschool. Listen, if you learned that in preschool, I am so impressed because I work with little ones, and preschool they don't quite learn that. So you're very advanced.
I don't know how that's relevant to the topic.
I don't know how it does either, but I was just trying to be.
Nice.
Where is Testify? Testify, God rest his soul.
Yeah. I think we all miss him as hard as he was to get along with. I think everybody misses him to some extent.
I don't.
I miss him because I actually like Testify. I thought he was like
he had a place in our heart in this household for some reason. We all liked him, but then he kept going like Testify-ish.
That's not my thing. I really don't care.
No, that's all right.
I hear you. But yeah, this Vic King thing is crazy because already on Twitter there are people saying, "How did CG allow this guy in?" Well, nobody had a freaking clue.
I found out this morning.
Yeah, it's like, and the second people found out, they were like, "Whoa, nope, not cool." So it's not like it's been everybody keep quiet. Vic King is in the room. No, it's been exposed because nobody knew.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about these type of people is they can blend into society. Serial killers, sociopaths.
Yeah, of course.
And these types of people they can blend in. It's almost I don't know. I don't have the words for it, but it's.
I do. It's human. That and I don't mean as an insult to every one of us, but there are good guys and bad guys, and there are good times and bad times. I don't think that Vic is going around hunting little girls, but I think that what he did was effed up, and that's it's.
So I want to touch upon his professionalism and business sense. I know personally that when I worked with Vic King, he never came through, even though I paid him for what he was doing for us. He never came through. And it was like, I don't know, every few months, and then it was a year. And I waited, and it happened to come up, and I'm like, oh yeah, he never paid. He never sent those items. I probably should reach out to him. Oh yeah, I'll get him in the mail. And I have like it all obviously documented because it was via email and Twitter and stuff like that. So I lost a lot of respect for him, and I felt that he personally didn't keep his promises. He's not good for his word, and anybody is in business. If you're not good, for your word, then you're not going to do very well. So I lost a lot of respect. And then one of the books that he did, and Chris, you can help me. You can remind me.
Lightbringer.
Yeah,
well,
Lightbringer.
That was as much on the publishing company as it was on him for letting that out of the house. But it was just sloppy, rushed, and just not even cleaned up. And it was
it was crazy. It was really.
I was
crazy.
very upset because at that point in time, I was very hopeful for Vic. I thought he was on the way up, and I thought there would be improvement, and
Nope.
Yeah, it just wasn't there.
Well, Andy towards the end didn't really care much for him, and I can say that now. But Andy was like he would at least lurk in his chat just so he could remind himself how not to behave and how not to be as a person.
Right, exactly.
And towards the end, I mean, like I do my normal bitching about him, and he'd say, "Dude, I don't want to talk about Vic King anymore." Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Vic,
yeah, and that's
Vic did a decent job of getting in everybody's ear, but it was like some people can do it and they have the charisma to get off, and you can listen to it at least for a while. But I honestly never lasted more than 10 minutes on any of his streams.
Right.
I was just like, no, I gotta go.
He went from being just one of us to some kind of wreck or something, and all of a sudden, all the trolls kind of started hanging out on his channel.
Well,
And then this now they're abandoning ship like I knew they would, but who wouldn't at this point?
Yeah.
well, again, is it because was finding out his past and what he did sort of the icing on the cake, where people might have been between themselves saying, "Yeah, the dude was supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and he never did."
I was listening to a stream from, I think his name is Hargrove this morning.
Hargrave.
And apparently they were frequenters of his thing, and they were saying a lot of stuff now adds up. They were talking about like how he said he had to move, he was losing his apartment. Now they're speculating that maybe he was coming out of the halfway house, and when he was sharing a bathroom with someone else, was that why? Because he was in a halfway house.
Well, this is like
that's
dumb. It's all speculation. It's all like
it's very speculative, but yeah, but
it is speculative. But when you suddenly come up with, well, if he had just gotten out of jail and he's been in a program for the last year or so, yeah, we've worked with street people that have been coming out of addiction places. That's a lot of times what they do.
He did admit to being homeless for a while, so maybe he was homeless and he just found it in transitional housing.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of these places, Tim, that's exactly how they do it. They'll rent a house with like 4 bedrooms, and they'll slam everybody in that house for shelter. But it doesn't, it's not always it's not the greatest situation at times.
Right.
Unfortunately, but it is a step out of the streets. So
yeah,
I'm not knocking it,
Right. Oops. And the thing too is,
I think. Oh, okay.
I don't know why has this been brought to the forefront? Why are we all of a sudden finding this out? Because his business practices, because the way he treated people in a business relationship. That's what I think. Like, why all of a sudden? He's been around for some time now. Since
I honestly think the theory that Vicky and Dean just kind of looked because of his bad business practices, and they went, "Holy crap! Look at what the hell this is." Because I don't. Otherwise, the only other option I came up with, Tim, and you tell me what you think. Either that was the scenario, or they run background checks on every one of us.
I don't think that.
I don't know. I do know
it's
that
possible. You know them.
They do something. They do something I call investigates.
They do investigation.
Right. Yeah. But here's the thing, though. Even if they find something like something that's true, the motivation to do investigating is because they hate us all so much.
A lot of that is, I can't deny a lot of that. And I'm laughing because I've never actually gotten the cut. But yeah, I imagine if I was like exposed for something, I imagine it's different if you're under their lens. But
they have a photo of you getting into the cookie jar, you got cookies hanging out of your mouth, and you're trying to put your hand in front of the camera, like, don't look at me.
Well, like when we were late a month, I was terrified, and like when we sent out the trolls with all those typos, all I could picture was Dean and Vicky like ripping into us, but it was all cool. We took care of it. But
did you know that Chris was never has a library book that he never turned back in.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, yeah, I guess that means he's not a good person. I can't do a
No,
good
but I
deed.
do like. I agree. I wonder why. Like all of a
I
sudden,
truly think that was it. I think that people were getting fed up, and enough people had not had. Dean hadn't. Well, not Dean. I'm sorry. Vic hadn't delivered to enough people that it finally got. It
Mhm.
takes every once in a while. Vicky will hear something about this professional isn't being professional, and for some reason it gets her fire up. And I can almost picture her sitting there, looking into Vic and just her and Dean going, "Uh-oh, we just found something." And of course, then the reporter thing kicks in, the investigations. I like that. Can I steal that, Tim?
Go ahead. Merry Christmas.
Because I think they would agree with that, because that's kind of what it is. If you've rubbed them the wrong way and they find that you
junk
stubbed
on
your
you.
toe on a little kid on a bus, you just kick the kid out of public transportation. You know what I mean? Like I don't doubt there's a little bit of that going on. Hang on. Oh, Colonel Morg, what's up, bro?
Hello.
He says it's not hey Tim. It's because CG is a hello cow. Rich environment. I can't do the British accent either. And Chris is right. Research occurred due to bad business practices, but also Vic dropped his rough look. Yeah, that's true. He did.
Yikes, he did. Oh,
But you
that's
want to
not-
know something true about that? I already knew
Hmm.
where Vic lived because he had mentioned Massachusetts. He wasn't exactly hiding it, but he didn't make it public.
Right.
When we
And-
first started talking, I knew he was over in the Danvers area.
Right. It's too bad. I hate to regardless of what he did and all of that. I hate this kind of stuff. I hate dragging the mud on people, but he brought it on himself.
Well, here's the
You
thing:
know?
as much as painful as it is to do or to listen to,
Mm,
it's like, okay, this is how evil gets beaten.
yeah.
Whether we want to call it that or not, we
Yeah.
talked about this, Diana and I, today, and I said I can understand how a man can be attracted to a young lady, but that's where a man has to be an adult and say she's
Yeah.
a kid, she's a freaking
She's
kid.
a
I don't
child.
care. I know that you have 15-year-olds running around in mini skirts that look like they're 30. That's where
Right.
especially when your boy brings them home, your son. That's where daddy kicks in and says, "Nope, you girls got to go home, put on like
Put
baggy
some clothes.
and then come back and you can see my
Put
son."
some clothes
You don't
on.
invite him to sit down, and then you don't. You
Well,
just
that's
don't.
the brokenness in him. But like I said, it really is because of his business practices. If you're on the up and up and you're dealing with people and you do what you say you're going to do and all of that, nobody's going to start snooping around in the back. I mean,
Right.
I don't think so. I mean, the background of your life. I mean, unless you give him good cause, and obviously he did. So here we are. Vic
It's
King
kind of
is
like a twist of karma, right?
It is, and I, but we don't know all the pieces except the fact that he was a piss poor businessman and didn't hold didn't hold true to his word. I mean, that's all I know
Well,
about him.
You know what though? It gets this starts to sound like a Bible study or something, because
Um,
a lot of it had to do with his drinking. I'm sure that did not help.
right?
It's just it all piles on.
Uh-huh. Of course it does.
Yeah,
and-
I understand what Morg says. It's not based on hate, but I think the motivation to investigate and find truth is because they don't like EVS or they don't like, therefore they're gonna dig.
Yeah.
And I think but it's been going around that Vic has terrible business practice for a long time. I know that.
right.
You guys know that.
Well, more than us, you had it firsthand with a whole book, right? I mean, you had
Right.
actual
Yes.
projects.
And I canned his ass faster than
I remember that.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
actually it took Andy like 3 times to tell me just fire his ass. Just do it. And I had never fired somebody before. I was like, and I just kind of pulled the Band-Aid off. I was like, Nick, this is not working out. You're fired.
I know.
Shoot, Diana and I fire each other. Well, I fire her. She doesn't
You
really
should
fire.
do you know how often I get fired, guys? It's like not even funny.
Every day, every second.
Pretty much. I'm
No,
like,
it's,
really?
it's
You're gonna
usually
fire
it's
me?
usually 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
He's firing you right now, in fact.
He's
Yeah,
gonna
you're
fire
fired,
me.
babe.
Listen, I can't. I just like, fine. Go without me. Do without me. Go. Do your thing.
That's not what she
Um,
says. She laughs at me because she knows I'm full. She looks at me, whatever. Ha ha.
I know. Oh my gosh. It's so bad. It's so
Well, the thing
bad.
is, we are a couple for life, so we get through these things. Becoming curious also involved the last few months of embarrassing and disastrous behavior. Liam was hunted down by the Etsy boys and testified for strange behaviors too.
Yeah. No, and I guess if you are presenting one way for, quite some time and then all of a sudden your behavior changes radically, that would be a cause for concern.
Honestly,
Yeah.
the funny part about Vic is like the undeserved, like the way he viewed himself. He thought he was a CG king. Like, what have you done to actually earn that?
Yeah, I heard him actually talking about how I was here way before most of these guys,
I was
I'm the
ever
king of the
CG.
bottom. Yeah,
Oh my
CG.
gosh.
OG CG.
Yeah, it's just like, dude, you have to, you have to earn your, like anything in life. You have to earn your stars and bars.
Right.
You can't
Right.
you can't just
True.
be something.
Right.
Ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, from Apollo 412, we have Mighty Geek Studios. It looks like Apollo tonight. It looked like a spaceship when you came on. I'm like,
Oh my God, Chris. Like,
the
where
camera
is
had
he
just a
getting
little
that stuff?
wiggle.
This is one small step for man, one giant.
Giant leap for geek kind.
Yeah.
I don't know. Video games wanted to know if the CG community liked the NES. Guys,
I don't know. I know I do. Honestly, I'm a retro player. I walk around with a Retroid
Thing
device of
is-
some kind at all time.
The thing is
and
about the NES,
mhm.
yeah,
I like
you'd have to have grown up with it in order to appreciate it.
I didn't
And-
get the regular Nintendo. I got the Super Nintendo, and
Which came right after. We know.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah. And honestly, I guess the original NES was too expensive, so we got Commodore 64, which I think we got from one of our uncles or something. Yeah, yeah.
Xbox too. But
Yeah.
to be honest, the only game I remember off of Xbox, and I mean the original Xbox, was the Fable game. And I don't even know if that's accurate or if it was on 365, but I
Well,
loved Fable.
the
That was
thing
my
about the Xbox is it was great for playing first person shooters and any type of action game.
Yeah.
Because at the
I've been
time,
playing Age of Empires actually.
because at the time Microsoft was the only one that had its own network.
But I have to tell you guys, the NES, when it came out, I was right there on the forefront, and it was awesome. And I did ride right
course
in
it
with the
was.
Super NES. I didn't even play Genesis until Super NES had been out for like 3 years. I was a Nintendo fanboy.
I ruled it at Mortal Kombat 2 on Super Nintendo, but as soon as I played
Yeah.
on Sega, I would always get my butt kicked.
You want to hear something funny? It was that way with NBA Live for me. So
Mhm.
I was in Orlando, right? And I lived in a very diversified neighborhood racially. So it would commonly be me, Spanish guys, black guys, and a couple of white guys, and we'd play tournaments. And whenever
Okay.
we played Super Nintendo, I was great, man. I was always in like the top 5. I made it through the first like 4 rounds because we had so many people. When we went to the Genesis, I was so bad I never even got past the first round. It was like the game was
You
too
know,
different.
you know
And it
why?
was good. Why?
The controller setup was different.
Yeah, that was part of it too. But a lot of it
Part of
was
it was the controller
Yeah.
setup, and the other part was the graphics were
yeah, the
on
feel
a
and the
completely
feel of
different level.
Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo had a completely different timing. So when you went up to shoot, I
Right.
had that part mastered. When I went to Sega and I went up to shoot, even though they were both Electronic Arts, I'm telling you, Sega had a whole different feel. And the guys
It
that were
did.
there were good at it. So I knew it was me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Mhm.
nope, I'm not getting through this tournament.
Yeah, well, I remember I'd pick my favorite character. I always picked Liu Kang, and then I would just use Sub-Zero and just basically be cheap about it. And I still lost. was like, you son of a bitch.
But yeah, so
As
the
far,
NES was
as far as the
actually-
Nintendo games go, when it came to Mortal Kombat, there were 3 characters you can always cheat with.
Yeah.
Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and Raiden is the other one.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 characters most guys cheat with.
Remember all the rumors that went around about like I go, if you do this code, this happens, and it was like there's like total bogus like fatalities.
Yeah.
But they did have fatalities.
No,
Yeah,
no,
but
no,
they
no.
had
No,
one.
there was a special code that you can input, and just about if you lightly hit the guy, it'll count as a fatality.
Oh.
Yeah, that was one of them. Yeah, yeah. Before the when the internet was starting to take off, there was
Yeah.
all kinds of BS rumors.
Mhm.
That would be so cool, VG. That would be so cool. Look at that. He hopes someone in CG makes a comic book about a superhero that is made of retro video game consoles or characters. That would be really cool.
He like shoots out like old Nintendo cartridges at villains.
That would be like Soundwave emitting an energon cube.
Chris is getting ready to show his toys, guys.
I'm trying to get it to show without the glare. There we go. So this is a Retroid flip. It's about the same as Metroid 3 Plus.
Oh, you got MK2 on there?
Yeah, of course.
Oh man.
You need to send me that absolutely free because I'm a legend in the making.
Look at this, man. It closes up like a clamshell. I've had other ones where like you put them in your pocket and these end up breaking off and stuff.
Yeah.
My next one is going to be the 4 Pro, so I'm going to have to get a case for that.
Yeah, you get that one and you send me that one, your old one. That's how that works.
You know what's funny is I do give my stuff away, and this is going to sound like I'm saying it just for the show, but it's true. I end up giving it away to professional educators who use it with kids.
Oh, well, I'm not a professional educator, but you need to send that one to me.
But I mean, they are motivators when you have a troubled kid, someone who can't focus.
Wait, hold on. Troubled kids out there, shape up and fly right. Okay, no, you need to send me that.
The thing is, most of the kids that aren't focusing just need a little, it's just attention. I think you just need to give them a little of positive reinforcement, and they go. They're like Volkswagens; they never stop.
You positively smack them in the head and say, "Hey, pay attention."
Actually, I was raised on negativity, and I do believe in it, but I also believe that positive could have done a lot. Positive could have helped.
You be negatively positive. You smack them and then you say, "See how that works?"
Yeah. Well, my kid ended up being raised rather positively because I loved him. I just loved him too much to be that mean. But
Not about being mean, Chris. That's the whole point.
No, but it can be if you're like abusing the situation. Like, I think at least in the 70s and 80s, I was hit with that whole. It was a different thing. Parents were more strict, and now
they had to be.
Right.
They had to be because they were out working and you were home alone.
Well, I faced the same thing, but the authorities took a lot of stuff away when I was parenting.
I know.
Spanking became so taboo that your kid could get taken away from you if you spank them. I was there when that first started. Yeah, we are gonna have a video game eventually. We've talked to a couple of people. Most notably, we talked to Jace, my son, who does it as a hobby. He could do a simple 16-bit,
Can you do
graphic? What do they call that?
Doom
2D
style
scroller?
shooter?
Yeah, well,
in that.
a shooter would be tough because I'm thinking Cyclopean would have to be more like Double Dragon.
Side scroller. Yeah.
He doesn't fly. He doesn't have laser beams. So it's going to be very contact, only in a Cyclopean way. Like I could see him trying to make friends with the boss, It won't work. Of course.
I love you.
But what if part of the
come
thing
on,
is
man!
you have
Don't
to
Barney
work,
him.
there's
Don't
all
turn him
sorts
into
of ways to
Barney.
play with it.
Not Barney,
yeah.
but
Remember,
Yeah.
Evil Superboss, when crossing the road, always look both ways.
Actually, you know,
Look
If-
both ways. Look both ways.
if Cyclopean doesn't like start booming, there won't be a video game though, because that's the thing. Like, I don't want to put money into it if it's not taking off. I'm committed to finishing the series or the volume at 12. But like, if sales stay stagnant, I'll definitely look at how to either ramp it up with him, be that like including additional support characters, or looking at a new IP. I don't know, but I love the Great Cyclopean. He just may not be mainstream.
Well, it doesn't have to be mainstream. That's
I
where you-
want him to. I want to get to where I have something that I can sell, and I don't want to get rich, but it would be nice if I could quit my job. and
First of
stay
all, you're
home.
not going to get rich in comics. That's the whole point.
No, you don't. Well, you don't get rich in comics. You get rich in merchandise and other things, but
Yeah.
that's not really the point. But I know you can make a living on this.
Mike, okay, back to my question. Your what's his name? Jace? Can he
Yeah.
make a Doom style shooter?
Oh, no, probably not.
Damn it.
Actually, I'm sure he could if he worked on it, but he's very much into the 2D bitmap graphics. He's always been fascinated with he used to love to tear apart graphic sheets that would be in the cartridges. Like, he'd download the ROMs and find the character maps, and I don't know. He was really into
Okay, next
modifying and
Next question. Can he do like Contra?
probably if I got him started and he got into it, I'm sure he could, because it's still a side scroller. That's the thing about side scrollers.
hmm
Like, even though Cyclopean won't be shooting, you got to have someone shooting at him. And remember, if he doesn't see it coming, it hurts more than if he sees it. Ooh.
Well, he only has one eyeball, so.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm drawing issue 8 as of course we're funding for 7. And there's a scene where the unnamed bad man, I mean, he's named, but I'm not sharing him, comes down from jumping out of a aircraft, lands on the front bumper section of the pickup truck carrying the Great Cyclopean, Captain Aura, and I equal some. And basically jackknifes the truck. So it goes up in the air. Cyclopean goes flying out of the back. He grabs the roof and flips with it in the air and comes down on top of Cyclopean. It's like so wicked cool. And like, he has to, like, the way he falls, he's going to be looking at it, so it's not going to hurt him that bad. But like, if he wasn't looking at it, he would have been crushed. That could have hurt really bad. So yeah, like, he's fun because he has vulnerabilities.
He's vulnerable. Hey, ladies. This one-eyed guy, he's vulnerable.
I'm dying to see what happens when he's blinded, because then he can't see anything coming. And that's the next thing that I'm doing with this guy. And I know you're thinking, well, you must know what's going to happen. Yeah, but when I get to drawing it, it's going to be like, I'm already picturing like the way his hands will look when he's reaching out, trying to see. And, we've all seen our heroes blinded before. But I'm dying to draw that.
Maybe he could have like an ultimate form where he's just all eyeball. He's just one big eyeball.
Maybe, but then that would only be good for merchandising, because then we could make like the Cyclopean ball mode.
He just becomes one giant eyeball that floats around and shoots out a laser.
Whoa, the Cyclopean Transformer edition. We could cross-license it, Diana.
Oh, yeah,
Take the
that's
doll
true.
and you fold him up and he becomes an eyeball.
Oh my God.
We can incorporate it in the story.
Shoots out missiles or something.
Man,
guys
guy
are-
Yushokin could use him as a basketball. So one of the thoughts I am thinking is I may incorporate Cyclopean's next volume with him leading a team of super freaks, which would include Mangai Yushokin. Because I still love Mangai. I might dump the Yushokin and just go with Mangai, but I still love the character. So
You know what you could do?
what's
You
that?
could do what manga publishers have been doing for years. Create a magazine starring all your characters and just tell weekly or monthly stories in that way, and then have your readers vote on which one they like the most.
Yeah, yeah.
You could also give Mangai an extra long title.
Like what, Tim?
I don't know. You decide. It'd be
That would be up to you, Chris.
Mangai, the soldier from the future that was from the past with the nuclear energy that's solar.
there you go.
It's a little
Yeah,
complicated.
Yeah, a little complicated.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your
that's why-
audience demographic?
Hopefully, we're talking 13 to like 18 is my demographic, but who knows? That's been one of the problems in marketing Cyclopean, because like a lot of people say, go on streams, do this, do that. It doesn't.
Oh, so
it
you
doesn't.
so
the
you're
title
going
doesn't
for
market well with 40-year-old readers. You know, it's targeted towards
oh,
kids now.
you're
Go
going
ahead.
for a shonen demographic, which is teenage boys.
Right.
Right. And I can tell you that it does quite well with kids between the ages of 9 and 12. When they get their hands on it, they love it. And I know that because, you know, kids are genuine. You know, when you bring your book like to your family at like a dinner, everybody goes,
Mhm.
oh, this is so good. This is great. You bring it to kids. If they're not talking to you about it, they didn't care. They didn't care.
Yep.
Hey guys.
What's
John.
up, man?
Now
What's up?
I've actually
Mike
given
T.
a few coworkers copies of Melvin, and they take them home, and of course they're mothers with kids, right? Their kids have actually stolen the copies of my book out of their room and hid it.
I wonder why.
Well, it's not a child's book, number one. So just because it's a comic book, they shouldn't be just giving it to their kid.
No. You have to understand.
he's
You have to
wondering why
understand
people
boys.
I understand boys, but I'm speaking as a mother. Like I've read Melvin, and I wouldn't give it to my 6-year-old son or 7-year-old son. It's an adult
But-
comic.
First
but
of
you're
all,
missing the point. The point is it's a comic, and that's what boys will do.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? When I was
doesn't matter.
See, they
when I
did.
was a kid,
Okay.
like Tim was into Image, but I was actually sneaking copies of Marvel's Epic line, where you had your occasional adult stories. Mike might
Yes.
remember that. You remember Epic Comics, Mike?
What comics are you talking about?
I'm talking about Marvel when they came out
Marvel's-
with Epic, like in the 80s, 70s, and 80s.
Marvel's
Wasn't it?
Epic line.
Okay,
Yeah.
Chris, what you have to understand is I didn't grow up reading comics like you guys did. I got
Okay.
into comics actually later in life. My first love was actually cartoons. It was the Super Friends. It was my love for the Super Friends that eventually got me, later in life to, my love for the Super Friends, and then of course, later the DCAU that got.
So you
me
mean you've
into-
never seen like Marvel Epic Comics?
I've heard of it.
Cool. No,
I've
that's
heard of it a little bit. Like I've seen that. I know Epic is a imprint of Marvel, but
right.
that's only
Mhm.
because when I would do my This Day in Each History segment.
Okay. As I was saying, I don't think they didn't give the kids my book. The kids saw it, liked it, and took it from them when they weren't looking.
Right.
Like cookies in the jar, baby.
Yeah,
Exactly.
They knew it was something they couldn't have. That's why they wanted it even more to where they hid it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, one of the other things I wanted to do, of course, is when you guys are all done here, to invite you all to feel free to come over and check out my show at the top of the hour here, 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. The Mike Stand, in which we'll be going over niche news, talking a little bit about, of course, some of the articles will include the latest news on the latest DC animated show coming out, Batman Cape Crusader. There's another article from Bleeding Fool about who killed American comics.
Are you
Let's
covering
see.
anything on Big King tonight?
What was that?
Are you covering anything on Big King tonight?
No, I the only thing I know about Vic King is that you all know him. I'm guessing he's a comic book writer or artist or something like that.
He's a comic
Oh,
book
no.
artist.
Yeah. No, then you didn't hear the news. He got busted as well. He's been how do we say it? Back in 2012, he was busted for child rape, basically, and did time in prison. And then DNV Investigations last night broke it in a video. So it's like that's been like a dark shadow over the whole.
And the thing is that he's somebody who I know has been on a number of different people's channels too. You know,
Yeah, well, he's
I know
he's
he's
kind
been
of
on,
integrated.
I know he's
himself.
been on Rex's channel quite a bit over time.
Yeah, Rex must be devastated. I haven't even checked out Rex's stuff on it. If he said anything, I mean, wasn't Rex like one of his biggest supporters?
I'm
think so.
not sure. All I know is that he was on. The only thing about Vic King I know is that he's been on some people's channels before. He's been on, I think he's been on Rex's channel. I think he's been on Dark Gift's channel a few times.
He's been on here a couple of times too. Not like those. Like he's been on theirs a lot more, but he's come here a couple of times. I think the thing that is sucky is none of us saw this coming. You know, none of us. We all had
No,
different
none of us-
opinions about Vic, but nobody.
I don't
thought,
even know a whole lot about him, and it's not like it's one of those things I would have probably covered anyways.
See,
but, like-
that's the thing about Vic. He was so widespread that I figured you would have gone, really? Vic King, huh? But like, because he's overexposed himself as much as he could over the years. Like
I
you
know of him, but just because they're on a lot of streams doesn't necessarily mean that I know them. Because
right.
I'm bigger on making connections. Like I probably know more about like you and Diana than I do about him. You know, because I spent more time with you. You know, it's like
and
I'm not
like,
just somebody just like I'm not exactly somebody who just likes to sit back and unless there's a legit news story going on, like a few weeks ago when the whole thing with Ethan and young Ripa and Flash and Dillard was going on. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know anything about any of that until RJ told me, and then I looked into it a little bit more and was covering that for the few weeks there. But aside from that, I don't really focus on the drama a whole lot. I don't really.
Yeah, to me, this is even bigger than that though, because this is so. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 years we find out July and Ethan are fine again, and it was all just a. You know what I mean? Like, could it be pro wrestling? Could this be?
Could this be a work? Is that what you think, Chris?
Well, I don't think it is.
The whole thing between Ethan and Eric, it's a work.
I don't think so, but would it really surprise you if you found out it was? Like, because in my head,
I don't really know either of them. I may know Ethan slightly more than Eric, but I don't know them enough to where I could really say. I mean, yeah, I did for the first few days of that Crash Cast. I did, start watching a little bit, but then it's like after a while, I just thought because it just like again, I'm not a big drama person. I'm not like oh my God, Ethan's talking about Eric again. Oh my God, what's this now? It's like, and I think Tim would probably agree with me on this. Who cares?
I really don't care either. Yeah,
I don't know.
All of a sudden, he has
probably 70% of it all, and it's just because some of it is so damn funny. Like that's the problem with drama. If you agree with the guy joking on it, the jokes can be funny as all get out. But after like the 15th episode in a row,
right.
I'm like, how long
that's kind of the problem too. That's that's an unfortunate thing about us as a society right now, is that we seem to keep feeding into the drama culture, the looky-loo culture. It's like we got a whole society of people who will sit there. They come upon an accident, and I know they have to slow down because they have to safely get by it, but they'll like sit there and they'll gawk at the damage. They'll gawk at the destruction there, and they'll be like thanking God that they weren't the ones in that destruction, and then kind of also be like, kind of like treating the other people like they're idiots. It's like
Well, the difference is people gawking at something that they thank God they're not part of. They keep going. These people will actively pour gasoline on it just to keep the amusement happening.
Yeah,
yeah, that happens. Yep, that definitely happens.
Yeah.
They're
So we
so-
can keep
their
talking. I'm
lives
just gonna scroll through
their
this while
lives
we
are so,
talk.
their lives are so boring that they have to have some chaos just to entertain themselves. That's just my opinion.
Actually, let me bring up something that's a little more positive to entertain. And Tim, you can help me out with this because what I wanted to bring up, of course, Tim, did you want to tell everybody about what we read this past Friday? About some of the stuff we read this past Friday?
Oh yes. I think one was like a western.
Yeah, that was the Texas Terror one.
Yeah. There's like a few funny ones, and then like something pretty typical of that era, which was, a superhero that has no obstacles whatsoever and saves the day without any.
Okay, so what we did was we read from Novelty Press's Target Comics Volume 1, Issue 2, and the features we went over were White Streak, Man of War, Pill Wayne, Texas Terror, Lucky Bird, Flying Cadet, the High Grass Twins, and City Editor. Those were the features we kind of went over. I know Tim said he liked the Texas Terror one because of the lot of them. That was the one that had the most action. That was Western. We had a nice little discussion too about the High Grass Twins because I had read the High Grass Twins in issue 1 with RJ when I did Target Comics #1 when we're a few weeks ago, and I talked about how they were initially introduced as like a couple of 50-year-old childlike individuals who were still living at home with their mother. And Tim and I got into a little discussion about it to where he thought it was their way of maybe painting people with cognitive disabilities in light. But considering the setting was kind of more like the Appalachians. I pointed out to him, no, I think it was more due to what a lot of people in the city thought of more people like in the rural areas. It was urban versus rural kind of situation where, people tend to think that people like in the, in the rural South, particularly in the Appalachians.
So, just not to interrupt or anything, but I wanted to bring up one thing really quick. And the crowdfunding arena that Chris and I have found ourselves in to help get our books out there, one of the things that I noticed that if you don't jump into streams like every single night and a variety of different streams, then nobody really knows you because there's so much talent out there. There's so many people that are crowdfunding. There's so many like it's ginormous. Like I went on to Kickstarter the other day. I went on to Indiegogo the other day, and I was just scrolling, seeing, hey, what's out there? We haven't used either of those platforms for a while because Chris wants to stick with Fund My Comic, which I don't, that's fine, whatever. And I just was like astounded by the talent. So my question to you guys that are sitting here is, how can you guys come up with another way besides going to people like just dropping in and dropping a link and making small chat? Is there anything else that you've seen other people who have other, more successful campaigns that they do? I mean, Tim, you're out there as far as
I am pretty much considering, like I said, I'm using an Etsy store for my new stuff.
yeah, okay.
Getting distributed
Yeah.
and trying to do mini cons and conventions.
yeah,
You
that's
know,
kind of
old
I feel
school.
too. Old school way,
found it
pounding the pavement
Recently,
kind of thing.
I
Right?
got something recently I'd like to emulate.
Yeah.
We should sponsor a NASCAR and put a Cyclopean wrap on it.
Oh my God, Chris, stop it.
I'm not
Stop.
kidding. Why?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're gonna sponsor a NASCAR. Like we have to
Just
keep it
a wrap.
within. I'll give you a wrap. Can I come down to my office? Let me wrap you for just a second. I would like to wrap you in a package.
I know
and
it
ship
can be
you
done. I
to,
just watched
like-
CBS do it.
Oh, stop already. We're not that. I was actually trying to ask a serious question because I'm listening and I'm like, before we shut the
Joking, but
stream.
in a way, I'm
I-
not.
Continue, Diana. Continue.
One of the things you could do is we could buy advertising where comic books are sold or created or conventions, anywhere you can buy advertising. Advertising is always one way to get your name out there.
Yeah.
That's
I don't-
true.
Also, I might add that movie theaters, you can actually get before the movie starts. There's advertisement space on the screens.
Mm.
Billboards do offer space if you can afford it.
Yeah. Nah.
Small.
There's also another alternative. Go
What's
to your
that?
local comic shop and see if they'd have space for local talent.
And we have. The problem is, like, when we do that and they'll sell our books, we don't get a lot of like, hey, we need another shipment of your books. We haven't reached that. I guess that.
You ever thought about making an ash can that you can hand out with advertising websites if you're doing a con?
Yeah.
Maybe like you advertise on the back of the book that you're these are the locations you can find copies of the Great Cyclopean.
Yeah.
Make it a book
Right.
that's totally unrelated to Cyclopean, or maybe somewhat related to the Great Cyclopean.
That's Chris. Have we ever thought about that?
We have, and we rejected it.
Okay.
It
You
costs too much
fool.
money to make an ash can and handout. Like, because with me, when you talk handout, I mean like everybody gets a copy. That's like, okay, start printing out. I need like at least 5,000 copies for a good show, right?
No.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
you don't.
No.
Yes.
No,
I need to go. I need to go around the hotel after the con and start knocking on doors. Knock, knock, knock.
No, this
Mr.
is something you,
Walters? Mr. Walters,
This
are
is-
you here for the Super Friends convention? Here's my ash can. And then
He
I'm gonna
knocks
go
on the
to-
front door.
no,
There's
we're
like-
talking about
there's
something that you put out before the con.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
what
just
you have,
stockpile them.
Diana, one of the other things you should probably take into some of the reason that there are some campaigns that do have some success too is due in part to the fact, and it's something that you really can't, there's something that you can't really deny it. It's like some of those who are crowdfunding now are some of the bigger names. It's like
Right.
people like
Right.
Ben Stiver, like Mike Farron, like Chuck Dixon.
Yeah.
They already have the name recognition, and that can be kind of to kind of swim in that lake.
Yeah.
With all those big names, that can be kind of a hindrance too. And it's like sometimes you can do the best you can and still come up short just because of what you have to swim through.
This is true.
You have to
That's
change
another
my
valid
name.
point.
We have to change my name to something that's memorable.
No, we don't have to do that. No.
No.
Anyway, I've
can
got my
explain
own
it.
show to set up for it, but I'll hope you guys will come by and say hi and check out some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about tonight. I left the information in the chat there, so I'll talk to you guys hopefully in a little while here, later or at some point. So, anyway, so
Mike,
all I do.
thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah. Kinda
Yeah,
serious.
that's what I'm thinking about is like kind of finding other ways because I mean no offense to and I don't hate anybody on CG and I don't hate anybody who's quote unquote anti CG.
Right.
I just think that the whole crowdfunding thing is not meant for the little guy. It's meant to prop up the bigger guy.
Yeah.
And
you
so
Valid
See, I just
statement.
view it as a store, and I like that we set up a deadline, even though it's killing me. Hello, anybody out there viewing it? We need $70 to get to our goal. It's killing me that we stalled at 9:30, but that's
Yeah.
not a big deal. I know it's going to come. I'm just like,
did you put up a storefront because you can keep that going like
Yeah.
that?
Oh yeah.
we
But
have
the
a
thing-
storefront that hasn't sold
it's
anything.
not- I think it's just that we are not well known enough. I feel we only have a very small circle of readers at this
Oh,
point.
that's what I'm dealing with too. But
Yeah.
I do have I'm not really sure, but I do think I have somewhat of a quote unquote not a cult, actual cult. When I say cult following, so don't twist it, Chris. A cult following to where I went from I don't know who you are
C-
to
ULTF. I'm taking notes. Oh,
can I finish, sir? Can I finish?
yeah, I'm messing
Yeah.
with you. Did you catch that? I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
Cult following.
Alright.
You're so funny. Anyway,
That's funny, Chris.
anyway, I
Oh
went
my
from
God.
I don't know you to I've seen the book, but I've never read it, or or they kind of know what it is because I went to the Gem State Comic Con and I
Right.
got quite a few of those. To oh, you're the Melvin guy.
Right.
So I mean, there's something there. It's not much, but there's
I
something
mean,
there.
we've had the privilege of going to. That's why I like to do repeat cons, because we do get people coming saying, "Oh my God, you guys were here last year. I loved your book." We've actually experienced that, and it's so cool. We've had kids come up, "Oh my God, it's a great Cyclopean, Mom." I think this past year we sort of took a backseat on the cons. Chris got really burnt out about them,
Really?
which I
Why?
understand. Yeah, I understand. But in all honesty, I think
Hello,
that
rebellious pastry. Just
howdy. I think that they are important, especially some of the smaller local ones that I've got us signed up
So
for.
here's been my problem with the cons, particularly the big ones.
The big ones we
we-
get swallowed up.
Right, we get swallowed up, and so I end up giving away all sorts of stuff to attract kids to the table, whether
That's
it's
why
candy
you
or
need.
spinning a
That's why
wheel.
you, sir. May I? That is why you need to have ash cans that you can hand out. That's the
They got to come
idea.
over to get those. They
No,
they
you
won't.
hand them out and say, "Hey, if you we at our booth we have copies of more books. Stop by."
No?
I don't know, something like that.
No,
Yeah,
I'd rather.
well-
You know what I do want to do though? I want to
What's that?
hire somebody to cosplay as Cyclopean and walk around.
Yeah, that would be cool.
We do know a guy who made Swamp Thing and looked really good, and he said he would be interested in making a Cyclopean, but he lives in Florida.
Yeah.
Make
Not
it happen.
impossible, but just more difficult, you know.
Make it
But that
happen.
would be so cool.
Do it.
Yeah.
No, you really do.
We have big
So-
dreams, but like here's the thing. So like, should I invest, $6,000-7,000 in a suit when I, can't make that much in a campaign?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with Cyclopean, and I'm very honest about it. If he's gonna if this is as big as he ever gets, I got to find a better IP. But I'm not saying I'm quitting on him. I'm just like, I don't want to
Oh,
grind away like a stone that doesn't have any gold in it.
I don't think it's better IP. I think it's all about, getting out there a little bit more. I'm hoping this year is going to be a really good year for us. is what I'm
Yeah, well,
hoping.
this is the make or break it year for him, really, because I'm committed to doing 12 issues. That'll take me all the way through the year.
Yeah.
I don't understand why this has to be a make or break year. I mean, people kind of know who you are.
Because
Yeah.
if he's not peaking, I can do something different. Like my mind is so creative. I've got
Right.
like 3 other projects in the back burner.
Right.
I can shoot some other stuff up and test it. Like Man Guy was a failure, but Man Guy is just one of half a dozen things that I could literally spit out
right.
in 60 days, have another book.
Mighty Geek had a point. Why don't you keep doing all those characters and do like a Shonen Jump style book?
Yeah, that sounds cool. The only thing is, it's harder when you're. I don't know. It's hard when you're to market like a lot of characters versus one, unless you get the crowd coming for the mass.
Right.
I don't know if I could hold. I don't know how many characters I could hold in a unit. In a book like that. Like me as a creative, I would have to bring in other talent.
You could do that. You could have one main story and then 2 stories that are supportive stories. They're not the main draw.
The way Shokin does it, I think, right? They could literally be totally different stories and then vote on which one goes out and which one stays in, and they can do it like that. It's just you see, then it gets weird because you got to find the right people who can keep it, keep a deadline, keep a quality.
You don't work well with people. I'm not doing that.
And even though Tim is against this, there would be some code to the Shokin, like how far can you go with sex? How far can you go with,
Oh
violence?
well, that's fine. I mean, like I said, if there's going to be like over the top violent books, there needs to be kind of safe books.
Well,
You
that's
just-
the
you
thing.
do-
Like, there will always be books that are adult, right?
Yeah.
Just like there'll be books that are more appropriate for kids.
And right now there are, but we're talking like
Balances out
Dogman.
though.
But Dogman is like all the kids really have, without getting hit by big agendas.
Well, I don't know. There a lot of them that are reading Fast Night at Freddy's or whatever that book is. That's a graphic
Oh,
novel.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Night at Freddy.
Freddy.
Yeah, they have that book going, and that talks about kidnapping a kid, and it's a lot of violent, and the kids are reading that. I mean, I have one student, third grade. His grandmother bought him the second one. He comes in, he does his work for me, and we read a chapter. So I'm getting to know the book a little bit. And it's really, like, I almost say no different than some of the video games these kids watch or play. I mean, it's kind of sad, but kids today are exposed to a lot more than I think my kids were when they were growing up. Just the way of the world, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I was exposed to a lot. I mean, I had G.I. Joe versus Werewolves in the 4th grade, and they wouldn't print that.
Yeah, that's true.
Too violent.
That was too violent. Really? I don't know.
Yes,
much about
I
that.
was told it was not appropriate for 4th grade.
Oh,
Which
God.
book?
I did a short story where it was G.I.
Ah.
Joe fighting a bunch of werewolves,
Yeah.
and they didn't print it because it was not appropriate.
Oh, God.
So I did tell you our 5th grade book story, right?
No.
In 5th
Oh, it was
grade,
a-
and I'm not just telling you this because you told yours, but in 5th grade, I wrote a story about a kid who comes in and kills the whole school.
Oh shit.
My buddy had a copier at home. His dad was a lawyer, and we printed up enough copies for like the whole grade. And we went to school and we handed them out, and we were promptly brought to the office.
Oh shit. Yes,
And
you
it was a decade before Columbine, so we didn't get in too much trouble. We were just told, if you're gonna write, don't hand these things out. Let us read it. Let us help you. They were very nice to us, actually, but I suppose if it had been done in the 90s, yeah, that could have been very bad for us.
Well, but Columbine happened at the end of the 90s, so I did actually get my artwork confiscated before I had graduated, and I had to really plead to get my artwork back. But he said yes, but some of it was disturbing, and so therefore I had to copy it and put it in your permanent file. But here you go. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Did that man discourage you from going on with your art career?
No, I'm just not very good. Not to compete.
I
with.
think you
Not a
just
con-
didn't put in the work. I think you said, you know what? I don't want to, I don't, and this is okay. I think you did it and went, I don't want to draw. Because people who don't draw just don't want to, man.
No, I loved drawing, but I saw how much better everybody else was, and like, well, I want to compete on a bigger level.
Right.
And if you're going to run with the big dogs, you need to kind of up your arsenal, and I can't do that because
Right.
I've been practicing for like years, and I'm not that
Right.
good. So
Right.
I want to win. So
Right.
somebody said
So you focused on the skill that you knew that you had talent, as
That
opposed
was-
to
that was-
beating your
yeah.
head over and over again to try to draw like people that
Well,
just-
somebody also made the mistake of saying I never succeed in comic books. And I don't like people telling. I don't like people. Oh, go ahead.
You don't like people going.
I don't like people telling me where I can succeed. So I told Sherwin, I said, we're making a comic book because he had drawn me something 2 years ago of Melvin. And I said, we're making a book. This is happening. So he said, okay, sir. So it
Yeah,
was
my wife does that with me pretty much because she does give me complete freedom. If I told her tomorrow I want to do a book about,
pickles.
drywall, she'd be like, all right, let me see what you got. But
We're doing
Like-
we're doing a comic book about mutant pickles.
yeah, well, when I told her about Trolls, that was just so bad because it was supposed to be 10 pages from each of us, and then that was done. And then it just was bad. It was bad. I just did way too many pages for that. It was an obsession, but it was a lesson. And really, it got a lot out of me because I've seen Pops a couple of times now. And I just kind of, it doesn't trigger me or anything. I don't get like, "Arr," I just go,
You
Ah.
son of a gun.
you're still doing that? I got to go.
Pops is
Oh,
okay.
poor guy.
I think
That-
I think two people that sometimes two people just don't get along. Yeah, that's it.
Right.
No, I just no. You'll see. The world will know. The darkness shall see the light. The Lord shall return and bless us all. Oh God,
funny.
what a day, man! And you know about the Wheelers, right?
Yeah, I like I said, my name is different because I trolled them. I showed up at the very last part of their stream and I said, "You guys have been butthurt about EVS for 6 years." And like what like that moment when they click the stream, like you hear it click, and he did a look like he saw the comment, but he got already clicked in it in the stream.
Well, I don't know these people, right?
Right.
So I went to watch the stream, and if I'm not mistaken, they make very adult sex style comics. And
Well, yeah, it's called Boobs, and it's actually about them being butthurt about EVS for for all the crap Mindy went through. It's supposed to be a funny book, but it's called Boobs.
oh my,
That's
Wow.
crazy.
I was
Well.
gonna do a 1-page parody called Moobs, and it's about two comic book creators being butthurt about something for about 6 years, and just like 2018, they're angry. 2019, he's writing a script with a character called Gaylord von Slobberknocker, and he's typing with one hand. Et cetera, just kind of just making fun of them.
Oh my
Oh, man.
gosh.
These guys. So Diana knows they tried to get into a show. The show rejected them because the show is family oriented.
Right.
Something happened online. I'm sure they were nasty. The husband, and they got blocked. And the husband and the wife went to the show declaring they were going to bring 10,000 flyers and announced they were going to another show to be seen. And they got their asses thrown out by the cops, which has caused all this
Yeah.
drama because I guess the promoter called the next show the CEO2 or whatever it is and put in a bad word, and they don't even know if they can still get in. I don't know what that's all about.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't care about the Wheelers, so I'm laughing.
Well, it's new to me because I don't know them at all. And at first, it sounded like they had a legitimate complaint. And the more I listened, I'm like, so wait a minute. You make an adult book, you were rejected, and then you got into on Facebook, you got into an argument in front of people, and then you went to a show, and this happened. I'm like, that's not smart, man.
Yeah.
Like, there are promoters that I genuinely didn't care for, and you can ask Diana. I just don't go. I'm like, I'm not gonna. So if we scheduled for a show and somebody said, I don't like you, you can't come, I wouldn't show up. I don't get that. I'm like, no,
They like to antagonize people because they think it gives them.
oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because the only people I think can really get away with that are people with like hundreds of thousands of subs or whatever. Like the super drama on YouTube. One of the reasons it works is because they're not little guys like us. EVS can be a jerkhole because EVS, he's making $3,000 for sitting there for 4 or 5 hours yapping about Eric July. It's the dumbest crap I've ever seen. A pure genius for him,
Yeah.
It's not good for the industry. It's not good for his books, but it's good for his pocketbook. And I get that. I said to Diana, right? And honestly, Tim, tell me the truth, okay? As much as I love Jesus, if every time I came online and I said, hey, Diana, I think Tim is fat, and we made $3,000 off of that, you don't think I'd be like, Tim, I love you, but I have to go tell people you're fat? And you'd be like, why? I'd be like,
But Tim's not fat.
it doesn't
Why would
matter.
you say that about Tim?
$3,000 a night. I'm calling
That's
Tim
still not
fat.
nice.
And then I have like a
And what
rival
the
stream
drama
that
is,
says,
though, Diana. That's what
What?
the drama is because it made money. Sorry, Tim. I don't care if it's not true or true. I'm gonna say it because I make $3,000 if I stay on for 4 hours and call you fat. And then Tim gets pissed, so he starts going, "Well, Chris is bald," and then he starts making X amount of dollars, and then before you know it, both shows are generating super chats, and it's the dumbest crap I've ever seen, but people do
It's
it.
the bald versus the fat people.
I just made it up too. I don't
It's
mean that
very
personally,
nice.
Tim. I think you're quite shapely, actually.
What?
Look,
Oh my
hey, man.
God.
Hey,
Tim's a
man.
Oh my
man's man.
God. You just
Tim, you know why
just
Tim
said
doesn't
that
turn the
Tim was
camera on?
shapely.
Tim
What?
doesn't turn the camera on
He's
because
turned it
every
on
time
before.
he does, no, he doesn't often because every
But
time
he
does,
doesn't do it often. But
he gets
that's
flooded by women every time he does.
I know it's a curse.
I can't. You guys,
DMs, emails. You don't want to
I'm
know what
going
they
to
attach
bed.
to those emails, Diana.
Diana,
What?
Chris is sexually harassing me. Can you get me him to stop?
I know. I'm telling you right now.
I
I'm
will.
hanging out.
Actually, we've been on for what, almost 2 hours?
No, an hour. We've been on since 8 o'clock, and I'm
Well,
done.
that's good enough because we're gonna start doing something like this every night around 8, maybe
Chris
7. I
is
don't
for
know.
sure. I'm gonna try
Yeah.
to talk along.
But I know that if we do this like 100 days in a row, we'll have like 50 people, and you do it for like 1,000 days, and you'll have 500 people. It grows, you know. It's just, I
Yeah.
hate to say this, but I'm going to say it on the very first episode of this thing. Repetition just draws people in.
Hey,
The more you
did
do it, the bigger it goes.
Hey, Chris,
Good.
did you know repetition draws people in?
I didn't until I started realizing,
Oh my God.
like, the way I watched the wave of EBS's little drama fest.
Oh.
And I was like, that's interesting. That is interesting. Like, I'm just watching people at this point and learning. So, guys, get ready for my first drama fest tomorrow night.
Oh yeah. What do we
We're
draw?
going to talk about Velveeta macaroni and cheese and why it's no good as a leftover.
What? All right, I'm going to have to stream about this right away in response. How dare you say that? On tweet?
If you refrigerate it and try to reheat it, it is the worst macaroni. and
You have
cheese
to
in
add
the
a
world.
little butter to it. That's the trick.
No,
I tried to do that
that's
before.
the crime. Kraft is
It's not
robbing
the
you of your
crime.
choices.
Oh my God, you guys
It's a
are so bad.
conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy.
Do you know the stuff that
we
they
could
spray
have-
in walls?
We could have Tomolovich versus Tomolovich, and it's like you guys just arguing back and forth.
Oh my God, why?
Oh, Love and Marriage. We could steal that song.
Loving me.
Love and Marriage.
All right. So on that note, this person is gonna fly the coop. I'm tired. I gotta work in the
You want me to
morning.
shut the show off, or do you want to stay on live for a while?
Who? Me?
Tim.
Tim, do you guys want to hang out for a bit? You can.
Sure, yeah.
I'm
that's
going
cool.
to-
That's cool.
No, I'm going to bed. Tim will be on alone.
What?
Well,
Just shut off the light when you're done.
Tim,
No,
he's
man,
such
I am
an a-hole. I
so
swear to God, he's such an a-hole. There's days that
Yeah.
I swear, give me strength. Like,
I love you all.
let me share this. Let me share like a screen, and then I'll get your channel struck fast.
oh yeah.
Where is
yeah.
it? I don't see it.
I'm not going to share it. You just let me look up something. I'll get your channel struck. How about that?
I don't want it to be struck. My gosh, you guys are so bad. All right.
Good night, everybody.
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough.